Hi everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colour & Kid. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing part 2 of all of my completed pages for 2022. I like to do this every year. It's just a really nice way to round off the year, and also I started my channel in the new year of 2019, and since then I've done it every year, and I just think it's a fun thing to do. If you haven't seen part 1 already, I'd recommend seeing that first and then coming back to watch this one. That video focused on the whips that I had and my Reese Berman collection, and this video is going to be my smaller postcard size books and then all the other miscellaneous books from loads of different illustrators. So they're not really part of any particular series, but I've got quite a lot of books that are your standard sort of Joanna Basford size book, and then some other ones as well. So I'm really excited to do this, and Happy New Year to all of you. Yeah, hopefully this video will have gone out quite soon after the first part as well. So I'm just going to get started. The first one I have is I Believe in Fairies. Now, if this is the first video you're watching of mine, then you might not know about these that I use. These are Atoya Pro Folios, and they are to normally hold art, but I use them to put my postcards in. Now, this one is a 5x7 inch, and it's perfect for the Clara Markova postcards. It literally is absolutely perfect for them. Any of the other postcards, like I'm going to show in a moment, all of the like Japanese ones, like your Eri postcards, they won't fit in here quite as well as the others because they're a lot smaller. But this is a great one. The other one that I have is a 4x6, so that's the good one for the smaller postcards. Excuse me, sorry, I'm not completely better yet. I'm still sort of getting over having a cough and a cold and COVID as well. Sorry if my voice is a bit croaky. But yeah, this one's perfect. So if you do have the I Believe in Fairies postcards that are in this box and you want them to be in a more secure packaging, yeah, you know what I mean, like somewhere to hold it, I would recommend this because it's perfect. So I've been focusing on this and Minorizer de Europa for this year. Well, not intentionally, I guess I was sort of intentionally focusing on them, but it sort of just happened that I was working on these quite a lot. I think I've done 5 or 6. So where do they start? Right. So they start from here and follow on. So this one I did in February. So I did this for Valentine's Day, and I used Holbein pencils and Castle Arts, and I think I was using Holbeins mainly for the background, but then I really wanted to test out using the Castle Arts with the Derwent Blender pen and seeing how they would work, and I was really, really impressed with how they worked on here. I also did a Colouring Quandaries video. That was a series I started that I need to keep up with actually because I really enjoyed doing it. Essentially talking about how to make a cohesive colour palette and not have too many things going around on the page and just a few different colours. So I think I talked about the process of how I picked the colours for this page, because really I only have the brown colour, the pink and red, and the green, and obviously the blue, but that's quite neutral in this case for the snow, as is the hat as well. So that was sort of how I went about doing that. And I really, really enjoyed doing this one. So especially the hat as well. This is a technique that I have carried forward for a lot of different projects now. Just going to do a close-up so you can see. But what I've done is just burnished with some purple and blue pencil. And then I've gone over with the paint pen. So you can still see the colour underneath, but then you also get the white as well. So that was my idea for that. And I tried to make it look fairy as well. So I'm really pleased with that one. And I ended up using Castle Art because I did a Crayola gingerbread man ages ago in one of my Clara Markova books, and I can't remember at all the colour palette that I used. So I tried to come up with a similar one with the Castle Arts, and it worked quite well. So actually, by accident, this page goes quite well with this one. So it's quite nice that they go together in this folder. So this one was March or April, I think. It was quite a spring-like page, which is why I did it around that time. This one was all luminant, so I still don't have the full set, but I had very generously been given some, and I'm slowly collecting them, and I just decided I'm going to challenge myself to just use them on a colouring page. Usually I do use lots of different pencils on one project, but actually for this one I really enjoyed just using one set, and it did make it a little bit easier just limiting myself, because again it helped with the cohesive nature of the picture. So I think I have colour combinations for quite a lot of this. This strawberry combination I've done a lot for other pictures, and I'm really pleased with how the bird came out as well. That's one of my favourite things about the page. I also use lots of glitter and sparkle. I'm not sure if you can see that, but this is the Stardust paint from the Art Spirits. Sorry if you just heard the door bang. I think the breeze outside closed it. So I also used Jelly Roll Glaze, white gel pen, lots of different things. So I'm really pleased with this one, and it was fun trying something a bit different, but also I like that these two go quite well together. Okay, so this is the next one. Now there was quite a big gap between this one and this one. I think this might have been June. It was definitely some way like a midway through the year. And I just used Prismacolor. So again, for this one, I was just trying to use one set, and I hadn't used my Prismacolor for a while, and I don't think I'd used them much at all for these postcards. I think the last one I'd done with Prismacolor was this one. So it was really nice to come back and just use them. I did the background first, and I was quite happy with the colour palette for that, because normally I end up doing a background that's way too bright with the Prismacolor. And also, what often used to happen when I did them was if I was doing a gradiated background, it would be a really harsh, like obvious difference between the dark colours and the light. Whereas with this one, I think because I used the Derwent Blender pen, they all sort of blended together, and you can't tell as much like where all the different colours are. So I definitely think it was partly due to the card. It's amazing. But they just blended really well. I also really like the feather. That's a colour palette that I will be doing again. And I tried to make him look like one of the dwarfs from Snow White, and I can't remember which one. It might have been Doc. I can't remember. I haven't watched that film in such a long time. But yeah, I used a reference for that, so that's why I've got some colours that I wouldn't normally use, which was really interesting for me to try. Again, I've carried across that white effect with the paint pen and the colour underneath. I think there's like ginger root or something, the Prismacolor colour underneath. Normally I'd go for bright red berries, but this time I decided to go for this beautiful like mahogany colour. And yeah, got lots of sparkling things on there too. So I think I drew in lots of these stars and did all of the little white bits around the edge of them to sort of make them look like fireworks. And then did see-through wings for the bees. So yeah, that's that one. Very fun one to do. Now we have this one, which I believe was for Christmas in July. So this was a great one to do because it was still wintry but wasn't full on Christmas, and at the time I don't think I was feeling really too into doing a you know, Christmas page with a Christmas tree or something on it. So I ended up choosing this one, and the colour palette for this, usually when I have a page in mind, I sort of have an idea of some of the things, and then I sort of know from those where the colour palette's going to go. And for this one I actually didn't, which was really fun, because I think, again, I started with the background and the snow, and I was using Faber-Castell Black Edition pencils for a lot of this. I knew I wanted the mouse to be brown instead of grey, because I didn't want it to blend in too much with the background. And then I was sort of stuck a bit, because it's like, well, what do I do now? I don't know what the colours should be. And that's when I sort of decided, well, I'll make this a fruit punch sort of thing, because I've already got the yellow in the background with the sun that I added in. I've already got the blue from the background, so I will put lots of blue in for him. I was also trying a darker skin tone, and I'm really new to doing portraits anyway. I don't do them very often. And I know it's a small portrait, but I was using the skin tone set, the Kohinoor Polycolour set. And there are some great colours, and I really like using those. I think I then ended up using them for the mouse as well, because the colours carried across quite well. And yeah, that was really fun to do. I used lots of white gel pen again, and loads of glittery things. And again, I carried across the purple for the ribbon, my purple and green combination, one that I love. So yeah, it was one that came together at the end. It wasn't one that I knew instantly where I wanted the colour palette to go. I think it was a whip for quite a while because I wasn't actually sure what I wanted to do with it. So it just goes to show that you can start a page with no intention of what the colour palette's going to be, and actually it can end up turning out maybe in a way that you didn't expect, but still something that you quite like. So that's that one. Oh, and I've just noticed lots of the white gel pens come off that. Oh well. And then I have these two. So these are the last two that I've done. Didn't get around to doing a Christmas one, but I might just have a look and see if there are excuse me, any good winter ones, because I need to do more in this winter section because I have hardly done any. That would be a good one for Valentine's Day, and it's not too Christmassy, so that could be a potential one. These are all quite Christmassy, so I think I might leave those. But yeah, that could be a good one, actually. I think I might have shown that before, but I've hardly got any spring and summer ones left. So I really need to get some of the autumn and Christmas ones, winter ones done. So that would be a great one to do. Then we have this one. Now this is from the autumn section. I did this maybe in August or September. I want to say it was for the summer Halloween again, but I could be wrong. Anyway, this one was Black Widow. Now, I do often use the Black Widows on these pictures. Some of the recent, sorry, not the recent ones, some of the older ones I'd done were things like this, where they're not very dark, I guess. But with this one, I was really keen to try and burnish the background, and the blues in the Black Widow set, some of them are absolutely fantastic, and what I normally do is just gravitate towards using the same ones all the time, and I knew for this one I can't do that, otherwise they're all going to look the same. I want to try something different, and in the end came out with this background which I was really pleased with, and I think I did search up a background to use as inspiration. What I did was I drew in this moon. We've got all the blue gradiating into the purple and pink, and then the really, really light pink. So that was my idea for it, and that's really all I had to go off of, because that was my only idea for this page. I knew that I wanted the witch's hat to be black, but I do the technique that I've done for a few other things actually, where I do a different colour as a base. So I did pink and blue in this case as the base, just so that it's not all black. You could do grey as a lighter colour to use as a base, but I quite like having the contrast because I feel like the black comes out a lot more. I've also done it here as well, so I used purple and blue. I actually prefer how this one's come out, I think. So aside from that, I didn't want to add too many more colours in, so I pulled the pink from the background and did these sorts of pink mushrooms. I used brown as the neutral colour, lots of fine liner going on as well, and I love these lollipops. They remind me of the ones we used to get in France, and they pop up a lot on these pages. So that is that one. I added some constellations as well in there. So again, a really nice one to do. It wasn't right by when Halloween was, but it's really, really nice to do that one. And I've now done, have I done all the house ones? I've done that one, that one, that one. No, so I've got one more, which is the strawberry one. So maybe I'll do that in 2023. And then the final one I have is this one. So this was quite recent. I believe it was October or November. I can't remember, gosh. So this one, the only thing I knew was the background. And I was trying to do this cloudy effect with the pink and the blue and merging them. And then I've also done some yellow in the background down here. I was also wanting to test out some new paints I got from Archie's Paints, which were called Alara and Karina, and they are absolutely beautiful. So they are a blue and pink paint. I might actually have them to hand. Let me show you. There we go. So they are pink and blue, but then they have a gold glitter in them. So if you water them down loads, they're essentially just the gold glitter, which is beautiful. And that's what I did on here for the potion bottle. I used Alara, which is the pink one, and did quite a few bases, but sort of came out with a pink hint, but mostly just this beautiful gold glitter. And I love it so much. I also use Stardust from the Art Spirits on the wings and lots of the dots and things. And again, this one, the colour palette, I wasn't completely convinced by until the end. And I still think with this, it's probably not the most cohesive that I could have done. But I didn't want there to be too much red going on. I could have easily done the outfit here red as well. I thought, well, there's going to be no variation with the apples and the strawberries, and then having her be red as well. So I'm glad that I added the purple in, and I think it just sort of matched with the clouds. So yeah, another really fun one. And I liked that it was in the autumn section, or was it the summer one? I can't remember. It was one of those, and it still sort of had that Halloween element to it with the witch hat, and yeah, it was really nice to do that one. So yeah, they are all my postcards. We had 6 this year, which is not bad. I was aiming to maybe be able to do one a month, but you know, sometimes it doesn't happen, and I really don't want to rush these. How many have I done now? I've lost track again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. Okay, I've done 17, so more than halfway. And I know I did a 50% completed video with all of these as well. So yeah, there's 32 postcards in total. So I'm getting there with them, and I love them so much, and I'm looking forward to doing more in 2023. And I would eventually, when I do complete them, I would love to get a second copy of these, because just to have them again would be amazing. They are expensive, but yeah, I would have definitely got my money's worth when I eventually do complete these. So that's those ones. Okay, so now we move on to the Doming's colouring book, which I did have in postcard form. I mentioned when I first got them that I bought the PDF not realising it was a scam, and decided to turn them into postcards rather than having them A4 size. And since then, I was very kindly sent the actual book from Chill and Sarah, so I'm not going to work on the postcards anymore. I actually would, at some point, love to redo the postcard that I did this year, because I don't really like it. The one that I did that I really do like is the Alice in Wonderland one. And this card is a really cheap card. I think it's from Poundland. So it's not the best, but considering that, I think the Black Widows worked really well for this one. This was done last year. This was the one that I did this year. And again, I used Black Widows, but I really am not a fan of this one. And I liked it at the time, but I don't know, I think it's the blue background. And I didn't do any blending or anything. And I don't know. Some of the elements I feel were on too small a scale to be able to fully, you know, do all the details. I can't really pick apart all of the different leaves and things on Peter Pan's clothing, whereas if I was to do it in here, which I'd like to do at some point, where is it? It's the details are just a lot bigger, which is helpful. There we go, that one there. So I would really like to start working in the book. I mean, these are great because I did have the references as well, so I could try and make the colours look accurate. But these aren't exactly accurate because obviously they've been printed off, whereas I think the ones in the book will hopefully be even closer to the intended artwork. But yeah, this one was done with Black Widows. I don't put any embellishments on these. I'm not sure why I didn't. I just didn't feel like I needed to, really. I didn't for the other one either. But I would really like to do this one because Peter Pan's one of my all-time favourite Disney films. We did Peter Pan for my Year 6 production, and I was Wendy for that, which I just loved. It was so fun. That was the only thing. I was like, oh, I guess it's her nightdress, isn't it? But in the Disney version, it's blue. So I haven't changed anything about these. I've stuck to what the artwork has done, but I don't know, I might change some things around perhaps. But it was still a fun one to do, just not it didn't quite turn out how I wanted it to, and I'm looking forward to hopefully working in this book. I haven't worked in it yet, but maybe doing a different picture. I might not start with that one. But yeah, that's that one. Just move that out the way. So then we have an Airy postcard. So these again I was sent by Chill and Sarah late this year. So this is, I can't remember exactly which one this is, but there are 16 different designs and 32 postcards. You get 2 of each. She's since come out with another set of 32 postcards, I believe, which are all different, and it's got a house on the front of it. I'd really like to get those at some point. But I've done one in here, and this is the 4x6 portfolio. So this is the 5x7 one, and this is the 4x6. So you can see the difference in the postcard, the smaller size postcards. So this is the one that I've done. So I did take it out of the book because this is slightly thinner card than the Clara Markova ones, and I just wanted to keep them safe. So they're all perforated, so you can take them out. And yeah, this one, I was inspired by Anne of Green Gables for this. And so I made the house look like Green Gables, and I made the girl look like Anne. I think I have colour combinations for quite a few things on here. Definitely Anne in the house. And I was doing a technique that I saw, or I think I saw Olivia Oderant do it on her Instagram. It was a reel, and she was using acrylic paint to make clouds, and I decided to try it with gouache. So that's what I decided to do, and it's really fun. Rather than doing it with pencil, I just did the pencil background and then added the gouache over the top. So it actually was a quicker process as well. And then yeah, just tried to keep it quite cohesive. I didn't put any glitter on here, but I've got lots of white gel pen, little accents and things. So yeah, that was a really sweet one to do, and because they are smaller, they don't take as long. There's a winter one that I'd really like to do. So there's this one which I really like. That's obviously a Christmas one, so I won't be able to do that. I guess I could. I mean, the thing is, I like doing really Christmassy pages up to Christmas, and I don't think I did oh no, I did do a Christmassy one this year. But then there are loads of other really beautiful wintry ones as well. So I'll still continue to colour winter pages into February. So that'll be good. That'll be a nice one to do. So then we have Joanna Basford's Miniature Enchanted Forest. So I did 2 in here, and I believe they were both buddy colours with Rabia. We've got this one. Now, I was using Faber-Castell Classics with this, and I was really excited to be able to just use them because I actually really do like the Faber-Castell Classics. They're one of my favourite budget pencils, and they are some of the really early pencils that I started out with. I don't feel that I used them to the best of their ability on these pages. I would like to experiment using them on different books. I haven't tried them in Rita Berman's books. I'm not sure how they would work, but I'd like to try. But yeah, with this, I just used a lot of fine liner in some cases rather than doing the blending with the pencils. And also this background didn't come out exactly how I wanted, but that's all right. I could have used pastel maybe, but this book really was just to do work in and not worry too much about how it came out. So I really like the vine bit here with the pink and the green. Really like that bit. I'm not sure whether I was meant to go in and finish these leaves because I've left some of them white. I'm not sure what I was doing with those. But anyway, that was that first title page. And then we've got the squirrel, which was a whip for such a long time, and I think that's probably what hindered it a little bit, because when I came back to it, I sort of just wanted to get it done. I was really happy with how the squirrel came out, and then just not as happy with some of the elements. I love the colour palette, but yeah, maybe just didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. Again, this is all classics. I even used them for the backgrounds and then burnished them. But it's such a sweet book, and Enchanted Forest is one of my favourites, and I really do like the smaller size. The paper's really good as well. So yeah, that's that one. I'd really recommend the miniature books if you are interested in having some pictures slightly different to the bigger book, because you do have, let me just get it again, some smaller emblems and things that John has put in. So if you're not too fussed about those, then you can sort of treat them as single-sided pages and potentially use marker and things, which is really good. For the most part, they're like that. I think that's quite a good idea if you would like to use markers in Joanna's books, but you haven't been able to because they're double-sided. Okay, so then we move on to the bigger books. So we've got Worldmaster Yuri's Journey Sketch, and this book I absolutely love. I got it early on in 2022 from Chen and Sarah, I think in February, and I love it. I really love it. I need to come back to it. It's definitely up there with one of my favourite books. I just think it's stunning, and I would really like to do one in the winter section if I get a chance to do one. There are some wintry pages, so they're not all Christmassy, which is nice. So there's this one which I really like with the robin. Lots of them are Christmassy, but you know, like the Christmas card one. But equally, there are some that definitely could be carried forward into later months. There was one that I just saw, yeah, like this one. I just would really like to work in it again because I love it. I've done 3 pages, I think. Yeah. So we've got these 2. Are they going to fit? Yeah, they just about fit in. So this was the first one that I did. One with the chaffinch, I think. And this is definitely my favourite. I spent so long on it. I really, really took my time. I used a reference for the chaffinch, lots of white gel pen, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I then continued and did another page, which I'll share in a second. And this was the most recent page that I've done, which was still a very long time ago. And with this one, I love all of the border, and I think that it matches really well with this page. The only thing that I'm not so keen on is the like the backgrounds, so the desk bit and the pink bit. I don't know why, like I think they go with it. I don't know. Yeah, I still really, really like it. I just think maybe I could have added a little bit more shading in or something, but I think as a double spread they go really nicely together. The only thing that I want to do when I do finally get around to the other sections is just trying to come up with different colour palettes, because my idea is for each season will have its own colour palette. So the 3 pages that I've done are all in the spring section, and they all look quite similar, which at first I was like, oh no, you know, I'm just getting into a cycle of using the same colours, because I'm just using Holbein's for this book. But actually I think that could work in my favour, because, you know, like children's storybooks, not often, but sometimes I've seen them where there's a recurring colour palette throughout the whole book. And I think if I ever did complete this book, it would be quite nice to have each season have its own colour palette. So that's my idea, but again, the only drawback with that is that every time I come back to the spring season, I'll be using the same colours, so it might get a bit repetitive. I don't think it will, but this will definitely look quite similar to the other pages because the same sorts of flowers are on it, and I just think that would look really, really pretty. So the other one that I've done is this one. So this was for Easter, and again I've written down colour combinations for all of the characters because I do know that they appear on other pages. So lots of the flowers are the same. I did change the flowers a little bit because I didn't want them to be exactly the same, but I just think that it's a beautiful book, and looking at it again now, I'm just so excited to work in it again because I love it. It's definitely up there with one of my favourites. So yeah, it was all Holbein. They work really, really well. The paper is lovely. It's not the most thick paper, but that doesn't matter at all. I'm not sure how well watercolour would work, but I just really like using pencil. And obviously if you were to then use markers, you would be sacrificing the pages because they are double-sided. But yeah, I really want to work in the other sections now. I think I'll leave the spring section for a bit. You never know, I might be in the mood and come back to the spring section in spring. But and luckily I do have most of the colours written down. But I would just like to work on some other things as well, I think. Oh, I do. See, I love all the double spreads, but I just know they're going to take me such a long time. This book is pretty much an A4 size book, just a different orientation. So I'm pretty sure like an A4 piece of paper comes out to about there. So it's pretty much A4. So I just know it will take such a long time. If you do get this book, you also get a code to be able to get all the PDFs. So if you don't want to work in the book and you want to practice a colour combination or something, you can do that. And yeah, print them off yourself. So yeah, that's that one. I didn't get around to the Halloween pages like I wanted to, but I just love it. I love that one. So that's Wild Mouse Yuri's Journey Sketch. I've also seen it as Adventure Sketch as well. It's on Amazon Japan. It's on Etsy quite a lot, I think. It's not on Amazon UK or Book Depository. But there's also another one in this series, not by Makiko Inatome, who this is by, but by a different artist. It's got bears, I think. I love it so much. That's really made me want to work in that book again because I love it. Okay, so then we have The Flower Year by Layla Dooley. This is my second copy and I have started working in it again. So the other copy that I had, there were just some pages that I really wanted to redo in it and I wasn't really keen on, especially some of the title pages, like the August and September ones that I did, on October actually. So yeah, there were some that I really wanted to redo. And it was also falling apart. And when I say falling apart, the spine was literally about to come off. So I've been really careful with this one and trying to keep it as clean as possible. I've also been doing budgie colours with my mum in this one. So we haven't coloured too much, but when we have, we've mainly been working in this, or she's been doing a Rita Berman postcard. So this one, I've still got a whip in here. And that's the title page one. I don't know why I've not finished it because I love it. The only thing I'm worried about is that I don't have the colours for the Snakehead Fritillaries anymore. Or maybe I do. Maybe I wrote them down. No, I think I did write them down, but I'm just worried that they won't turn out exactly the same. I've only got one more. I don't know why I didn't just finish it. But then I've got all the bluebells and I'm trying to replicate the one that I did. So I just love it so much. This is, again, one of my favourite books, but with this one, and I feel like with really detailed books, you do have to be in the mood for them. But the thing with this one that I like is that it looks realistic as well. And all of the details are sort of cohesive details. You know, you don't have loads of little different objects and things. They're all flowers and leaves, and I really like that. So that's that one. I then have this completed page. I haven't tackled any of the big ones yet. Because I just haven't. I've been nervous to, and I think also they're just going to take me quite a while. So this Painted Lady Butterfly was a buddy colour with Jay from Happy Colourist Jay, and it was lovely to be able to do this one. And I used, first time around when I did this, I used Crayolas. Second time round I used Holbein, so again I'm just using Holbein in this book. I've got lots of white gel pen as well. And I did what I did last time where I outlined the wings with white gel pen, and yeah, that's one that I was really happy with. And then I haven't got it marked because I actually just completed it the other day. So this was a buddy colour with my mum and we both did it. So this one is my version. So this is the mistletoe. So I haven't done this one because I knew I wouldn't have time to complete that, but I will write down what the colours are for this and maybe come to this one. Again, this would be a really nice one to do in January or February because it's quite wintry, but it's not fully Christmas. I used Holbein again for this one and it really didn't take that long. I think we were colouring for about an hour. I've used white gel pen on the little mistletoe berries, not sure if you can see that, but I was really pleased with how that turned out and I was glad to be working in it again. So yeah, they're the pages that I've done, so not a lot, but I'm really glad to have started back in this book because I it's beautiful. Now I'm just going to grab my mum's book. I will share with you what she's done, because I think that could be fun to do. So I'll be back in a second with that. So this is my mum's copy. Again, she's still got the nameplate as a whip because we were doing it at the same time. She's trying to follow me, and I think she's done a really good job. I think it's really beautiful. And then she did work on the Rita Berman postcards a lot whilst we coloured. So she did one in France, she did one earlier in the year. But as I said, we did the mistletoe together. Oh, there's a little, there we go. And she did this one. So she used pretty much the same colours as me, I think, but she did more of a gradation on hers, which I think looks so pretty. And she said she really enjoyed doing it as well. So it was really nice that we could colour together. And I love it. And I also said I will share this in the completed pages as well for December. So yeah, that was her version. Then we move on to a book you might not expect to see actually in this. This is Fairy Tales by Emily Lydell Oberg. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I got this book years ago. I remember first sharing it in 2019 because I'd got it definitely at an earlier point, and I did some pages that I didn't really like, and I didn't know if I would come back to this. And so anyway, I took the pages out. I've got them safe because I do want to keep them in my portfolio, but just have it as a fresh book and see what you do with it. And for this, I decided to I needed something just to relax with the other day, and I didn't want to use pencil, but I couldn't use marker because it's a double-sided book. So I was like, well, what can I use instead? I'd seen a lot of people use watercolour in this book, and I was like, well, I've got gouache, will that work? And it did. They went on so beautifully. Now, it is a bit wrinkled, but you know what, I don't mind at all, and I'll just put a pile of books on top and that'll flatten it out. This is what I did. So very minimal, no shading whatsoever. I really like it, and I'm not sure if I will continue that with this this book. My intention with this one was to try and make it look like the front cover. Now, it's not exactly the same. The green definitely is not the same. But I thought, well, that gives me a bit of leeway throughout the book, because if I do decide to carry on this colour palette, some of the pages can have this more olive type green and some can have the brighter teal green. But it was just a really relaxing one to do. Hardly took me any time at all. I used gouache a lot for all of the basing. And I used fine liner as well. And the great thing about the gouache is that if I did a light layer of it, I could then go over with the fine liner. So this bit was all gouache, and then the green is fine liner. Where it didn't work so well was if I did the gouache in a thick layer. So I did learn from that, and I need to do a lighter layer, because normally if I'm using gouache for artwork, I want it to be really thick and opaque. But in this case, in colouring books, it doesn't work so well if I'm then putting things over the top of it. But I mean, it works so well. You get a really flat look with gouache. Like for all these berries, that's just one layer of gouache left to dry. So it was a lot of fun. It's definitely not my best work, but you know what? I really enjoyed it, and I could definitely see myself coming back to this book and using gouache again. Maybe even with this colour palette. So yeah, that's that one. Oh, actually, no, sorry, I forgot to mention. I used lots of the paints from this, which is my dot card advent calendar from Archie's Paints. So I really wanted to test them out, and I thought, well, what better way to test some of them out properly on a book with this, because I'd already used the gouache. So I used Christmas Star, Snow Cloud, which is one of my favourites, Winter Smell and Eggnog. So I am hoping, and Katie has said that hopefully she will be selling the pans of these paints in February or so, and I'm really looking forward to buying some of them, because with these colours, I mean, they're all beautiful. There was some in particular that I really, really loved. I love Ornament, Snow Cloud, Christmas Star and Gifted are really nice. They are slightly different because this one's got gold glitter in. I love Eggnog, Winter Smell, Frosted Window. I mean, I'm probably not going to buy all of these. Burning Brandy's really nice, the Nutcracker one as well. There's just some beautiful colours, and can't wait to hopefully be able to get some. So I use them a lot on this just to test them out. They work really well. So I think after this video, I will put the stack of books on top of this. It might flatten it out a bit, but I'm not really concerned about that. But that's that one. Then we have, oh, sorry. I haven't filmed for a while. It's getting used to doing it again. So this is the Kamatsuda colouring book. This was around a lot on YouTube last year. And I did this one. Now, I was very, very kindly sent money to be able to get this book from Jo, which was extremely kind of her. And I wanted to start with this one because at the time I had just bought some paints from the Art Spirits, and it was my first ever set. And since then, Rebecca has very generously sent me some of her paints. But this was the set that I started out with in February. And I wanted to use lots of the paints because I was really excited to try them out. And I just love them. So I used polychromos for this page. I used pastel for the background, and I did add a border in because I didn't want it going right up to the edge of the page. Now, you're probably not even going to be able to see the background, to be honest, because it's quite light. I mean, obviously I can see it, but yeah, through the camera you can't really see that, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a really fun one to do. The only thing which I think I won't do next time is use the glitter paint. What's it called? Fairy dust, is it? No, rainbow dust. Because that one I did intend to get for embellishments and things for cards and artwork, as well as colouring books. And I think it would work very well in colouring books if I did a lighter layer, but I did quite a thick layer, and I'm not sure how well pencil will go over that on the other side. Sort of like stickles. I think when I first started using those, I did a really thick layer, and I think I need to do a lighter layer. So, I mean, it should be fine, but we will see. But yeah, I added lots of glitter, sparkle, a little like fairy dust trail there. Just a really sweet one. And I wanted to start off with something that wasn't that detailed because this is a very, very detailed book. That's that one. Oh, I'm just going to move my books over a bit because I'm worried they're going to fall. There we go. Then we have Mythographic Paradise by Fabiana Attanasio. I was very kindly sent this from Sue. And this one was very early on in the year. I think this might have been January. And it's this one. So I love everything about it apart from the lighthouse. I regret doing the lighthouse as bright as I did because it doesn't really go with anything else on the page. That being said, I was really pleased with how the whales came out and the background and the clouds, so I'm really looking forward to carrying over this colour palette for other things. I think I used the Brute Funa pencils, and for this I used quite a lot of fine liner and Posca pen and things. So this water was this pen, the brush sign pen, and then Posca pen over the top, so that was really fun to do. And it was nice just not using pencil all of the time, because pencil for a background, for me at least, when it's quite a big background and there's lots of things going on, it does take a while, especially since I was layering colours up. So yeah, that's the only thing I would change, the lighthouse. I think it's just a little bit bright, but it's really fun. I do think that this is going to come out soon. I might just put some washi tape to hold that in place. The only thing I did have to do, which took a while, was covering up the hidden objects, because there were quite a few hidden objects on this page that just didn't go with the page. Some of them I did keep in because I thought, well, they look fine, they go well with it, like the candle, the bell, they were fine, but then there were some that just didn't work. And actually, I can't even see all of them. Oh, there was like a medal thing there. There was like a cassette player or something over there. I can't remember. But some of them I keep in. It depends what the page is. But yeah, that's that one. Then we have Beyond the Wild Fairy Tale Colouring by Eri. And this was a buddy colour with Anne from Pretty Pages 71. So coming into this year, I had done this page in 2021 and I was so chuffed with it, and I wanted going forward to do the same with other pages in this book and use Prismacolor, but then loads of the paint. And as much as I loved using this technique for this page, I don't think it worked quite as well for this page. I think if I'm going to use the paints in this capacity, like I've used for this one, I might just not use them in quite as big areas. I mean, I really like overall how it's turned out. It didn't take very long at all. I could have maybe spent a little bit longer on the pencil shading. I think that's partly what it is. But yeah, I mean, it was really fun to do. At the time, I think I'd got my 6 new Kiliro paints. Have I got them? Yeah. So this was Easter time, and I had just bought these, I think. Yeah, that's right. So I was using as many of those as possible to just test them out, and this paper's perfect for them because it's really thick. I think I'd also use some of my other paints, like this one, the pistachio, and I really enjoyed testing them out. And I think because I was wanting to test them out, that's why I was using them for so many big areas. So I do really like how it's turned out. I like this sort of Fabergé egg type thing. I was using a lot of acrylic paint, and I will definitely continue doing this same style in this book because I think I might as well when the paper's so good, and make use of it, because the Japanese versions really can take lots of water. I don't have her new book yet. I would really like to get that because there are some beautiful ones in there. But yeah, it's just a lovely book, and it was a really fun one to do, that one. Then we have 2 books from Melpomene Chatsupa Nigitu. This is Circle of Life. Now, I did only get around to one this year. I did a lot last year. And as much as I love the book, I wasn't drawn to it as much. But this is the one that I did. I believe this was a buddy colour with Michelle as well. As I said in the other video, I'm so sorry if I've missed any buddy colours. So this one, I think I used Brute Funa pencils for. I used a lot of fine liner. And it was a nice one to do because I think it was still springtime, but I really wanted to do something with a slightly different colour palette. I'd done a lot of pinks and blues and purples and greens and things, and I just wanted something a bit different. And this was perfect and didn't take too long because the thing is with this one, yes, it's still quite detailed, but there are only a few elements really to it. I think I started out with the background and the water. And then once I'd done the tree, I really only had the desert landscape bit, and then the animals, and that's pretty much done. So it was nice coming back to a minimal colour palette, something not too detailed. I mean, it still is detailed. All of these pages are. I love them. But it was nice that it was just very different from things that I was working on at the time. And I love all of the circular pages. That's just definitely my thing. There are some pages that I would really like to do again. Feel like maybe I didn't pick the right pencils all the time for some pages, but I just love working in this book. That's my favourite one. I really enjoyed working on that one. So yeah, that's Circle of Life. Then we have Nature Mandalas, and this one was very kindly sent by Sue, and I really wanted to work in this one, but because they're quite detailed, I was like, well, what shall I do? Because at the time I didn't have much time to colour and I didn't feel like using pencil. So I thought, well, because they're mandalas, they're really relaxing, I'll just use my brush markers and fine liners and do a page. So that's what I did. And I'm really happy with it. And I think I would definitely continue doing that for this book. There are so many opportunities where I think that will just be a perfect combination because there's lots of small detailed spaces and I love using fine liners. So this one, and they're all single-sided as well, so if they bleed through it doesn't matter. So yeah, these are Ohuhu brush markers which Sue had passed on to me, and they worked brilliantly, and I used loads of fine liners as well. I also had a few Tombow markers, so this light purple was Tombow, quite a few because I had a few purple colours, and they worked brilliantly. And I also had an orange gold type Pentel pen, which was perfect for this, just to add a bit of colour. I used a lot of Sakura glitter gel pen. I mean, this was a perfect opportunity to use all of the glitter products because I do have fixed tip, I don't often use it, and it's one-sided, so it doesn't matter if it transfers over to the other side. The thing that took such a long time for this was the black background, but I really wanted to do one because I knew that it would just elevate the picture rather than leaving a white background. And I guess the only other colour I maybe would have done was yellow. But I just thought if I do a yellow background and I have lots of light flowers, are they going to pop as much? Because I was just worried that colours like this wouldn't pop. So I'm glad that I did black. It just did take a very long time, and I went through a couple of fine liners, working out like which one would work best, and one was running out. So yeah, the paper is wonderful. It's very smooth. I feel like it's different to the Circle of Life one, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure if this one is, but this might be the same paper that's used in Kirby Roseanne's books, but this one for some reason feels different. Don't know why. She's coming out with a new book called Enchanted Earth very soon, and I believe it's already out in some places, and I don't know how to get my hands on it because I don't think we can in the UK, but it looks beautiful and I'm really looking forward to her new book. So that's Nature Mandalas. Then we have Mythic World by Kirby Roseanne. Again, Sue very kindly sent this to me and I was really pleased to work in it. I think I worked in this in September or October, if I'm not mistaken. This one was my favourite page in the book. It's one I really wanted to do. And yeah, I'm pleased with this one. The background, what did I use? I used Arteza pencils for this one. So I hadn't used them for a while. I thought I'll use them. I would really like to work on them again. And that's all I had to begin with. I was like, right, I'm going to do purple and blue. And then I transferred that over to all of the clouds. I knew I wanted her kimono to be red. I used fine liner as a base for everything, which actually worked quite well. There's a little bit of streakiness, but my tip for that is I always then go over with pencil. So that's what I did, and it did take away a lot of the streakiness. And I've used my paints a lot, like the Alara paint that I mentioned. This must have been October, November then, because I only got those recently, for lots of the gold bits. And a green neon gel pen for the kimono, which was really, really fun to use. I just loved embellishing it all. And I did it as I went along, otherwise it would have taken a lot of time at the end. So yeah, really, really chuffed with that one. It did bleed through a little bit, but I'm not concerned about that. It was only a little bit of red gel pen. And there are some really detailed pages in here, but I'm glad that I started with my favourite one because I just really like it. So that's that one from Mythic World by Kirby Roseanne. Then I have A Million Cute Animals by Lulu Mayo. This again was just a book to do fun colouring in. I wasn't concerned at all with how it came out. And I think that's really important to just have, you know, those few books where you can do that. I really, really want her new, well, it's not even new, it's the Million Magical Creatures one. I've been wanting that for a while. And I think she's come out with some new ones as well, but I really like the look of her newer books, and this is one of the newer ones, which I love. I like the variation of animals. I think that's why I really like this one. I think A Million Magical Creatures also has a big variation of animals, which is why I like it. So this one was, I had just bought my new set of mild liners for college, and these were the colours from last year that still had some juice left in them. I was like, well, I'm just going to use them on this picture. So the colour palette was already decided for me, really, because there were only a few colours, and I really, really loved doing it. It took no time at all, and I just do have those moments sometimes where I just don't want to use pencil and I need to work on something else. And this is why this book's perfect. You know, eventually I'm going to run out of pages that aren't quite as simple as this one, but that's all right. I did really like the look of this one, which I didn't get around to because that would have been a quite nice Christmassy one. But I just love doing it, and it was just, yeah, very fun. I think I had like five, 6 colours there. And then this one I did for Valentine's Day. This one again, I mean, I've used glitter paint and stuff, but it was still the same sort of thing. Really not worrying too much about how it turned out. I used some Crayola Super Tips, some Zig brush pen things. I can't remember the exact name of them. And then I used some glitter paint. but for the most part, you know, there's pretty much no shading on that, and it was a lovely design. I really like that one. There's some really pretty ones in here. I love these books. I just like the feel of them as well, and they're really small and perfect. So at some point I think I would like to get the Mini Magical Creatures, because that will be a nice one to work on. Then we have Girl Power by Hachette Heroes. This is one of their smaller size colouring books with Disney in it, and I was very kindly sent this from my very good friend Valentina, and I worked on this one again, I think maybe in January. So this one, again, one of those books where I was just having fun, not worrying too much about the outcome. I think I used... Now I have 12 Copic markers because I got 2 sets of 6 for a really good deal at TK Maxx. I think the sets were about £6 each. And I used Copic for Rapunzel and then Crayola for the background. So I think that's what I was sort of going for with that, because I wanted her to pop out a lot more. I'm just seeing if there's another example. Yeah, something like this, I'd probably do the same thing. I do Tiana in marker and then pencil for the background. It was a really sweet one to do, and just again, not worrying about the outcome. I actually, colouring the skin with marker, I've never really done before, and I thought that it came out quite well for one of my first attempts. And yeah, it's just nice using marker. And it's a really sweet book, and I ended up picking the one that was on the cover, but I actually thought that was one of my favourites. So yeah, that's that one. Then we have Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Gusa. Now, I only did 1 page in this year. The paper is really nice in here. You probably wouldn't get away with watercolour. I mean, I can't. You probably would be able to, though. That's one of my favourite pages. And there have been some that I've done in here that I'm not quite as... Like this one I like, but not quite as much. I just feel like the colour palette, I wasn't very adventurous with it. I sort of just went with colours that I knew. I really like this one. And then the one that I did this year was this one. So this is Peter Rabbit. It took me a long time to get around to this one, because I think it was a challenge video or the thing that my cousin Rosie wanted me to do. So I used Arteza pencils and a few Holbein, I think. Lots of fine liner as well. This was a buddy colour with my really good friend Effie. And I can't believe it, but I think that was maybe the only buddy colour we got around to this year. I can't believe that, because we did so many last year, and I'm so sorry, Effie, because I just haven't had time to do lots, but we need to do some for 2023, definitely. I used my Derwent Blender pen a lot, and it works very, very well. Just some things I feel like I could have taken a bit more time over, just because I used the Derwent Blender pen as sort of a fallback, because it does work really well. But yeah, it was a really fun one to do, and I made the Scarecrow have like Peter Rabbit's top on. I did pastel for the background, and yeah, it was a really, really fun one to do. There are some beautiful pages in here. There's an English version as well of this book that would be really nice to get, maybe if you don't want to get this version. I'm not sure how the paper is. That's why I would really like to get a replacement of Menuet de Bonheur or this one, just to see what the paper's like, and see if you could get away with watercolour with that, because there are some pages I'd love to redo in Menuet de Bonheur. I was also sent this by Kanoko when it first came out, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think this was the first page that I did in it, actually, this one. But yeah, it's a beautiful book, so that's that one. We then have the Nina Stagner colouring book sent to me by the wonderful Diane, and I did a page for Easter. So this one was done with Faber-Castell Polychromos, and also I want to say some Crayolas as well. I used pastel in the background to create my cloud effect, and I was trying to emulate the same colour palette that I did with the rabbits on this picture for this one. So I did the robins as well. This was a buddy colour. I'm not sure if she wants me to mention her name. Thank you so much for doing it with me. But the hedgehog as well, lots of fine liner, and yeah, it was just so much fun. Really was. I liked doing this one, and there are some really nice spring ones in here, and I just use pencil with this and have loads of fun because the pages are just so cute, and I'm just really thrilled to have this book because I never thought I would be able to. I don't know where Diane managed to find it, but it was so kind of her to think of me and send it because it's so beautiful. 2 books left. So we have Seasons by Hanna Karlzon. So this was one, again, I'd done a page in here that I wasn't too happy with last year or the year before. I can't remember. Can't remember if I can even find it now. Did I take it out? I can't remember. Maybe I did. I can't remember. I've definitely got it tucked away somewhere. So this one was with Inktense pencils actually, and I was really glad to come back to this one because, again, I mean, I know it's silly, but I just get disheartened when there's a page in the book that didn't come out as intended. And so this was sort of like a fresh start page. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I used, as I said, Inktense for a lot of this, and again, the paper was wrinkled. Don't mind at all. I think that actually it's worked quite well. I also used the Jane Davenport metallic pastels for a lot of this. Might not be able to see, but it was just a really nice limited colour palette page, and one to sort of get me back into this book because I really do like Hanna Karlzon's work, and Seasons is one of my favourites. I didn't get around to doing a Christmas page actually. There are some wonderful ones in here that I would like to do at some point. So that's that one. A lot of gel pen and white gel pen and acrylic paint and sparkle on that one. And then the final one we have is Llewellyn's Shadowscapes colouring book by Stephanie Puman-Law. This one is her first book, I believe. There's one that she's come out with, like Secret Worlds or something, that I love and I would love to get at some point. This one, it's not my favourite. Again, this was one that I did just because I wanted to do some marker work, and it's great for that. Some of the details were quite small though, and it's hard for me to get into some of the small spaces, so that's the only thing that was quite tricky. And yeah, at the time when I got it, some of the illustrations really caught my eye, but I'm not sure if I will come back to it. We will see. But I mean, there are some really nice ones in here. I just think the Secret Worlds one, there are loads of like fairy tale inspired images that look really beautiful and probably more my thing. But I wanted to try out her artwork because I'd seen loads of gorgeous colourings with this one from Rainbow's End on Instagram, and yeah, this was really fun to do, but it did turn out how I wanted it to, but I was sort of limiting myself to the amount of colours and things that I was using as well. I think I did this early on in 2022, and I used some pastel for the background. So yeah, it was fun. It just, I guess, wasn't one of my favourites, but it was really nice to try out her artwork, and it's definitely made me want to get her new book at some point. There are just some in here that I'm not gravitating towards as much. But yeah, that's that one. So that's everything that I've coloured in 2022. I think this video is going to end up being quite long. I apologise. I hope that's all right. The only artist I really regret not working in this year was Maria Troll, because I didn't get around to anything. And there have been certain pages in her books that, again, have maybe a little bit disheartened. I haven't got her new book yet that I would really like to get, the Moon Valley one. That's definitely on my list. I haven't been buying that many books recently because I've been trying to be good and not get too many, but that's definitely on my list because I think the illustrations in that are gorgeous. And yeah, I haven't worked in her books for a while, so that's one I'd really like to get around to. But that's everything. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Thank you so much if you've got to the end of this video. I know it's been quite long. Looking through the books again has really made me want to work in some of these books again in 2023. Hopefully I will get around to colouring in lots of different books. As I said in my first part, I was quite surprised at the variety of books that I managed to work in this year. You know, for the past couple of months I had been focusing a lot on Ruta Berman, and although I did colour a lot of Ruta Berman this year, I'm really pleased that I managed to work in other artists' books as well, and it shows to me that, you know, I'm still having fun working in different books, which is really nice. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you would like to leave a comment, please feel free to do so. Everything is down below in my description box as usual, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care everyone, bye!